Alright, so good evening everyone. I'll probably only be doing this one video tonight. I'm pretty tired. The first game of the season is tomorrow, so I probably want to get a good night's sleep, and I'm really busy at work actually. And so, yeah, no, it'll probably just be the one video. Obviously, I'm going to be doing something different, so we're on team number 14, the last team at the bottom. I'll do my own video maybe Saturday since the Bucks game's tomorrow, and then Friday. Yeah, I got to pick somebody up, and we're going out. So yeah, I think we're going out. We're going out to like Seventh Son or something. Anyway, not important. What's important is we'll just get through this one, and we'll see if I can get my own together. But rather than waste all of your and my time going through a terrible auto draft where, newsflash, drafting multiple defensive ends and lots of tight ends is bad. Also, backup quarterbacks is bad. We will just go through what currently is constructed for the team that is the football team. So, yeah, we'll kind of go through it, highlight some things we like, maybe things we can work on, possible trades. I know football team's not going to make any trades, but hey, one can hope. So they got Mac Jones as their starter, rookie kid out of New England, replaced Cam Newton, much to some people's surprise, but not really my own. I always thought he may not be the best rookie quarterback in this draft class, but he is the most pro-ready rookie quarterback in this draft class. He's 6'3", 220 pounds. Last year in college, he was super elite, 77% completion percentage, 11.1 yards per attempt, 4-1 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. We can go through all of that. Obviously, I don't think he'll be as good as he was at Alabama in New England, especially as a rookie. But that being said, he's accurate. He's not terribly mobile. He's got a good O-line, good run game. Damien Harris, Ramondre Stevenson. I keep forgetting him, but out of Oklahoma. I like that kid. Really, really gifted running back. We'll see if he can put it together. And then, obviously, Simon Michel and Rex Burkhead are gone. Brandon Bolden's plays special teams. And we got J.J. Taylor. So, very different backfield. We've almost turned it all over completely in a couple of years. But the point is, I think they're a run-heavy team. I think, obviously, he's got some weapons now, more so than they had last year. I think, obviously, the Patriots overpaid for Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. I don't mind them signing Jonnu Smith or Hunter Henry. But I think they will be run heavy. Jonnu and Hunter Henry are probably going to be blocking quite a bit, so I don't know about their fantasy value. But Jones is really accurate. He's a solid player. He's pro-ready, and while he may not be super exciting, he will probably be very consistent, probably a back-end starter. He maybe maxes out at like Matt Ryan-ish, so like 12 to 14-ish starting quarterback, which isn't obviously, again, super exciting, but all things considered, that's a pretty good place to be. And he might surprise. He might turn into a Rookie of the Year candidate. We don't exactly know, because New England is one of those teams that's constantly making adjustments. I believe that, obviously, with Belichick, it will help a lot, but I suspect they will run the ball a lot. We'll see how much passing New England will do. But I think that's a good choice for a starter rather than rolling the dice on like an unvaccinated Kirk Cousins or a Tyrod Taylor, who, while I think could be good and is on a team that will be down a lot, is also probably very susceptible to like low days when the team's no good, especially with a very severe lack of weapons at wide receiver. Then Dalvin Cook. So obviously star player for the Vikings. He was the number 3 fantasy player last year. Obviously he missed 2 games again because he misses games every season, but, you know, he helped Robbie to a championship. He ranked second in carries, touches, scrimmage yards, and touchdowns all last year. His 22 carries inside of the 5-yard line led the NFL, so that's really good. He's a top 3 player when he plays. He's just not as durable as you would like him to be. I suspect injuries will start to really wreak havoc on him as he ages. But in the meantime, you know, you can build your team around him. He's a very, obviously, excellent player. I could see he's going to get like 300 carries. Let's just be honest. Minnesota's going to run him to the ground because that's what they do. I don't think he'll get 1,500 yards, but, you know, close to 1,400, 1,350 at the bottom. You know, maybe not as many touchdowns. I mean, 17 touchdowns is a touchdown a week. So I think maybe a little regression there, so maybe like 13. But obviously, he might get a little bit more carries, so maybe another 400 yards receiving. He's got to stay healthy. I don't think he stays healthy. I think he's going to miss 3 or 4 games. But if he does stay healthy, obviously he's a top 5. I don't have him as a top 5 back just because I don't think he's going to stay healthy. If you told me he was healthy the whole season, then yeah, he's like a top 3 back. I don't think he will be, but, you know, he's still a top 8 player at running back. He's very good. I just don't know if I would pay $83 in drafting him, the highest of anyone in our draft. But, hey, you know, star running back. The other star player, well, the second star player, I should say, there's 3. Stephon Diggs. So Diggs is now bona fide probably top, I don't know if I put him in the top 3. That's really, really high. I probably got like, I mean, if we take, excuse me, if we take Michael Thomas out, I'd probably still have like Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins. You want to take Julio out of the top 10, that's fine. Oh, that's hard. Maybe Diggs is a top 3 receiver. I got him in my top 5 for sure. I might just have, I mean, you can't put OBJ because of injuries. DK's probably not up there yet. Neither's Justin Jefferson. Keenan Allen's good, but not that good. Calvin Ridley's not ready. Okay, we can put Diggs in like the top 3. Either way, it's very, very close. He's an elite receiver. Really, what helped Josh Allen take that step was getting Stephon Diggs. And as much as I like Justin Jefferson last year in Minnesota, and I think he's a top 10 receiver now, Diggs was just incredible. Diggs, it's like, it's not often you see incredible receivers elevate their quarterback. You know, it's rare. Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Randy Moss, Tom Brady, Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning. So sometimes Odell Beckham Jr. for those first few years with Eli Manning. Sometimes you get a star receiver, and they're so good. They're just so incredibly, they're so bright like a star that they're able to elevate the rest of the offense, including the quarterback, because they just get open. It makes it easy. And Diggs was a monster. He led the league with 168 targets, 127 receptions, 1,535 yards, 29% target share. The offense went from pretty run-heavy with Devin Singletary and Josh Allen the year before to like a top 3 pass-heavy team. It completely flipped. I mean, I knew that they would, like Josh Allen would take a step. Josh Allen took the greatest step in accuracy for a quarterback since, gosh, I got to go back really far. Since like Jim Plunkett with the Raiders in the 60s. Like, it's a really, like, his accuracy went up 12 percentage points, which is just, like, double-digit percentage points in accuracy is, like, it's like, never happens. Like, again, I named Jim Plunkett. It, like, double-digit accuracy increase never happens. And I can almost attribute all of that to just his accuracy with Diggs. So he was a monster. I don't really need to go into it too much. But yeah, the team went to one of the highest scoring, one of the pass heaviest. He's 27, in the middle of his prime. I think maybe he'll take again, like Cook, he'll take like a minor step back just because it's so hard to do 1,500 yards. That's like so many things got to break right. I think maybe we're shooting for like 1,350, 1,400, just kind of like Cook, and then maybe not like 8 touchdowns, but maybe a little more, maybe like 10, especially with the extra game. So I always thought he had talent. Obviously, being trapped in Minnesota, having to play with Dalvin Cook, he can lead an offense by himself. He is good enough to do that. So, yeah, no, if Keenan Allen's the best route runner in football, Diggs is probably the second best. But the thing is, Diggs is more athletically gifted than Keenan Allen. He is able to use those route running skills as a technician and get more separation than Keenan Allen is able to. So while Keenan Allen's a good technician, Diggs, because he's younger and more athletic, he not only gets the extra bonus from being an incredible route runner, but you can just see it when he runs. Like a good route that he runs is like his comeback routes. So like you would just say a comebacker is like you run 10 yards, you pull back 2, and then you catch the ball. And you'd say that's a very simple route. And it is. You run forward, you stop, you come back. Anyone could run that route. But what Diggs is able to do is he lower his hips, lower his body, put his momentum, makes it look like he's going to run upfield. Since the quarterback, who usually has to play off because he's actually pretty quick with acceleration, so he doesn't get by him, he has to basically play off of him 5 yards. Then he's backpedaling. Diggs stops on a dime, comes back, catches the ball, and now he's got about like 6 or 7 yards separation with the cornerback going backwards when he catches it. That's how he's able to get so many yards after catch. Things like that, very small, nuanced route running things like that, are what makes like a truly elite player. You can see stuff like that with DK Metcalf, who I think is one of the most athletically gifted wide receivers. Now he's not a technician at all. He's very just brute speed, but when DK runs a comeback, he just goes forward, stops real fast, comes back, catches, and just bolts. So some people can do that. Other people, you got to use a little bit more finesse, and Diggs does do that. But he knows all the finer points in it, dropping his hips, lowering his momentum. He's got really great contact balance. He's difficult to bring down. He's really, really matured as a wide receiver, and it's really interesting to wonder about like his brother's cornerback for the Cowboys, like the number 1 cornerback for the Cowboys. It's really interesting to wonder about. It's just like, man, what must it have been like to like watch those two go against each other when they were growing up? That must have been really, really difficult. So yeah, no, like Diggs a lot. Just might take a small step back, and then the last player is obviously Travis Kelsey. So Robbie's guy, you can maybe go trade for him, Robbie, if you want. Travis Kelsey's the best tight end. He does all the great things at tight end. He set NFL record 1,416 receiving yards last year. Most fans tons and tons of fantasy points. He was like a top 5 tight end for like 13 of the 16 weeks. Kansas City super pass heavy. He's 31, so he's coming towards the back end of his prime. But again, I think we're taking a minor step back because just last year's just so incredible. So maybe 1,300 yards, keep the 11 touchdowns. But Travis Kelsey's incredible. He's a top end, he's basically a top 10 receiver. Let's just call it what it is. Even though he plays tight end, he's basically a top 10 receiver. So he's more likely to get hurt because he plays tight end, but still, he's incredible player. So that's the core. It's smaller than, obviously any of the other cores in our league. Instead of, 5 players like Sarah or, Charlie, it's 3. If I were Eileen and Charlie, neither of them trade, but if I were them, I would probably, try and figure out, I don't know, I would trade, Smith-Schuster, Deebo Samuel, and Antonio Brown with like Aaron Rodgers for Diggs, like something like that. Will they do that? Obviously not. Neither of them pursue trading. They don't really like do that. But would it help them both like pretty astronomically? Yeah. But hey, So I guess some of the other stuff that's obviously this team has changed a whole lot. Damien Williams is now the number 2 running back. So he's going to be the change of pace back, basically taking the Tariq Cohen role in Chicago. He's not a terrible number 2 starter. It's not like the worst. It's kind of similar to what like Charlie's running with Javonte Williams, only with much less upside. So he'll get some catches, though. I think they won't run Montgomery as hard as they did last year, especially towards the end without Cohen. And Williams is a good player. He was the number 1 for the Chiefs when they made the run to the Super Bowl because they cut Kareem Hunt the year before or after the year. So obviously he's the backup. It's not great, but I think he'll do good things. I think what will really help him in Chicago is he can catch passes. Obviously this is a sore spot that you would like to take care of, but there's not a whole lot you can do. It's hard to find any sort of running back help on free agency. You basically got to trade for it. I think I dropped Tevin Coleman, who's like the only starter that will probably move on free agency for a while, mostly because I wanted the handcuff and because I think Michael Carter is going to take that job. But the point is, it's just going to be really hard to find a starting running back at any point in time on free agency just because a lot of people are going to be looking for it. But, fill a hole. You could do worse. Then we got Stephon Diggs' teammate, Cole Beasley. So, I mean, he's one of the most reliable slot receivers in football. He'll probably will take a step back, probably not as many catches. He had 82 for 967 yards. Maybe still get the 4 touchdowns, but he's an underrated player. He's the number 2 target. John Brown's gone. They brought Emmanuel Sanders, but Beasley's probably a decent flex, honestly. So, 780 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think the real rub with him is just everyone knows he's unvaccinated, so he's probably missing games this season, especially because he's so vocal and kind of stupid about it. But as a player, strictly a player, he's a decent flex, honestly. So, Diggs, Beasley, okay, not bad. Dalvin Cook, that's good. Kelsey's our wide receiver tight end, fills that. All right, not bad. And then the flex is really the biggest issue, kind of like what Sarah's trotting out at wide receiver tight end, Mike Gesicki. So I actually like Dallas Goedert more than Mike Gesicki. Goddard finally took over the role from Zach Ertz, who'd been a top 3 tight end for basically his whole career. And Goddard looked good in a really terrible Eagles offense with Carson Wentz. Goddard looked good. So, would I want to start a tight end on my team? No. Is it ideal? No. But, all things considered, Goddard's not bad. I think he might have a chance at being Jalen Hurts' number 1 weapon just because Hurts likes to throw it to tight ends. That's something he did at Alabama. So, stranger things have occurred. If they finally do end up trading Ertz, which they ought to, but if they finally do, Goddard will get more play. I could see 750 yards. I could see 5-6 touchdowns. He's a talented tight end. It's a very tight end friendly scheme. They're with a quarterback who likes to throw to the tight end. And despite what people say, oh, Jalen Reagor's a first-round pick, oh, Devontae Smith's a first-round pick, great, they're really fast. At any point in time, has Jalen Hurts had any sort of arm to throw it deep to, speedy receivers? I remember Tua with, all those rookie receivers. Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy and Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs. I remember Tua. I remember Mac Jones. I don't remember Jalen Hurts ever doing anything with any of them. So, yeah. Not bad. obviously could be better, but, not the worst in the league either. So, defense is mostly cleaned up. Roquan Smith, good linebacker. Harold Landry, good defensive end. John Johnson III. I mean, he's in Cleveland now, but, good safety. Alexander Johnson, solid safety in Denver. So, Greg Zuerlein, Greg the Legs, now the kicker. We got a bunch of, handcuff running backs. So I think, Gio Bernard, if Ronald Jones or Fournette get hurt, he's still got utility as the pass-catching back. But if either of them get hurt, maybe there's a little more there. Traquan Smith, I like him. He's the number 2 in New Orleans. We'll see if him or Marquez Callaway pop off with Michael Thomas hurt, but that's not bad. Amon-Ra St. Brown might lead the Lions in receptions this year because the Lions got nobody. People tell me about Tyrell Williams, and I tell them about all of Tyrell Williams' injuries. So, yeah. Nelson Aguilar's the number 1 with New England, so I guess Mac dropped him, and then Cam Newton got cut, and Mac Jones became the starter, and now Eileen has the number 1 receiver for New England. That's fun. Rashad Penny, the backup in Seattle. I know people keep telling me Alex Collins looked really good in the preseason, and I don't disagree, but it just seems to me like Pete Carroll just continues to insist on Rashad Penny is the thing. So, he was a first-round pick, I guess, and by golly, Pete Carroll is exactly the type of coach to be super stubborn and never admit mistakes and just keep a player simply to keep a player. It's a crowded depth chart, but, take a flyer on him. He's talented. Wayne Gallman mysteriously got cut by, well, not mysteriously. He had a good season last year. He got cut by San Francisco because it's a numbers game and they're trying to par down the running back by committee, which is honestly for the best. I don't think anyone, even the team, likes all the committee guys. Just, you can make a tandem. Let's stop doing the 4 running back thing. Just pick a guy. If it's Mostert, awesome. If it's Sherman, even better. Pick a guy. So they cut Gallman. His first 4 years with the Giants, he was pretty good. He actually wasn't that bad last year. He filled in for Barkley, and he was relatively decent. He had, 682 yards, and then another, 100 yards receiving. Was he great by any stretch of the imagination? No, but, also, no one fears Daniel Jones, so, I think he met, some of the highest box rates, the most defenders in the box of any, running back last year. I think he was in, the top 5, which is a lot for someone kind of thrown in there, but no one believes Daniel Jones scares literally no one. So, he had a tough time, but, he may not be the best, but I think there's still talent there. He wasn't bad at Clemson. I mean, I could still see another 500-yard season. It's someone to keep an eye on, especially Mike Davis has always had injury issues. I know he's getting his chance in Atlanta, but, we talk so much about Mike Davis in Rich's video, but Gallman's a good player. There are those times where running back like Mike Davis last year, McCaffrey, an older veteran player, gets a chance, and he does show. And last year with the Giants, Gallman showed something. It wasn't great. It wasn't, oh my gosh, he ought to be a starter. But it was, he's a good running back. He's solid in pass protection. He's a good pass catcher. And behind a bad O-line against defenses ready for him, he produced modestly well. So I think there's a place for him in the league. I'm happy to see him in Atlanta, especially get the chance to be a backup. And I think, he can make something out of it with Mike Davis as the starter. Robbie's going to say, oh, who do they have behind him? Wayne Gallman's not good. Robbie's also going to tell you that Trevor Lawrence is the next Andrew Luck. So I'm not saying Wayne Gallman's good. I'm just saying that he did something with his opportunity last year, and I think he might get another one this year, possibly. Finally, on IR, there's Darrington Evans, who's the handcuff for the Titans. Honestly, he's he's like 5'10", so he's like an inch taller than me. He's like 203 pounds. He runs a 4.41. He's a kind of like Derrick Henry light. He's like a little bowling ball. It doesn't seem like he could really stay healthy. I know Sarah picked up Jeremy McNichols, who's the handcuff to Derrick Henry. Where is Rich? I have no idea. But anyway, I think Evans is probably the handcuff to Henry when he's healthy. It doesn't seem like he stays healthy. He wasn't healthy most of last year. He's already on IR to start this year, but from his draft tape last year, he's a small, powerful back. I would like to see more, obviously, but, if something were to happen to Henry and Evans were healthy, I think Evans would immediately be like a top 20 running back, just simply based on volume, because he is a good player. He's gotta get healthy. Like, that's really it. But, last year was his rookie year. This year, he got in some trouble in training camp, getting injured, so we'll see. The point is, yes, this team isn't very good. Yes, currently I do rank it 14th. But honestly, I don't think it's the worst team in the league, especially with, just the complete and total turnover of the team, especially on the back end. This bench is way more valuable than anything on Charlie's team. And that's why I just say it's just oh yeah, Charlie ought to, trade for, maybe Stephon Diggs and, one of the bench running backs and, just trade away 3 receivers. I mean, she's got, 7 of them plus Gronk, so 8. It's not like she really needs all of them, but, what are you going to do? Anyway, team ought to trade Diggs. Team ought to trade Kelsey. Probably trade Cook just because they're so light at running back, but I could see hanging on to them because, it's really hard to get a running back. But in an ideal world, this team would trade for 3 depth receivers and a starting quarterback. If you don't want to do the depth receivers, then 2 good receivers and a starting quarterback. I could see, let's say we did something like Diggs for Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and then another piece. I'd have to see the team. I guess that's Andre's team, but something along those lines. It would be good because Dallas Goedert's nice at flex and Cole Beasley's nice at receiver, but really they're not great. And we could and I like Mac Jones, but he's still a rookie. It's a lot to expect of him to be top 10 quarterback. I mean, last year obviously we had Justin Herbert, but I think Mac Jones is going to have more Joe Burrow, not the injury part because the O-line's actually good, but more Joe Burrow kind of year than Justin Herbert. Just everything's put on him and he's got to go figure it out kind of thing. So I like him, but I can't imagine Mac Jones as a top 10 quarterback simply because I think they're going to run the ball more. Yeah, in fantasy, especially for a rookie, it's just hard as a rookie quarterback. But the team's not bad, honestly. Even if I have it so ranked low because it's basically been built off of free agency and some star pieces. And yeah, obviously it ought to trade at least one of those star pieces to get a lot of depth. But all things considered, the starting lineup's competent and it'll definitely. Honestly, this team is better than Team Shorty's. It's better than, I think it's better than our team last year. I think it's obviously better than, what Autodraft drafted, which I would argue the Autodraft team, it's right around where Team Shorty's is. I guess you could say Team Shorty's had a startable quarterback, but, the core is better. But, honestly, the team now isn't terrible. It's decent. So, I could see 4 or 5 wins, hopefully. I mean, obviously, again, I mentioned it before. If Eileen and Charlie were to make a trade, that would probably be ideal for both of them. Just so Charlie could consolidate some of all of that receiver depth that basically has her at a quarter and serves no purpose. And Eileen could be able to use some of that depth and literally just pump it into a lineup. But, we'll see. You run your team how you want to run your team, but all in all, the team's built kind of okay right now. It's not great, but, I don't think anyone was expecting great coming out of that draft, so it could be worse. So, yeah, I'll do my video maybe Saturday. I think I actually work Saturday, but, I'll do it at some point. I'm just busy, I'm tired, I got other stuff going on right now. I got like a Rotary meeting on like Wednesday, so, it's got a lot going on. But I got a lot of thoughts on mine too, so, yeah, we'll get around to it.